Alright, so I'm back to give my follow-up video of the funeral home that we went with for the burial of my father. And what I want to mention is that you can't always believe what persons would say. You have to do your own research, you have to do your own review, you have to move by your gut feeling of what you think is right. And people would say things, but you have to do your research, explore it. Don't always settle for what it is that they say. So getting along with it, the funeral home that would have done the removal of the body, they would have called like every 2 days to say, hi Miss Sharon, how are you going? Calling my mom. We're not calling you about the money, but we want to know if by chance if you decided on a color scheme that you want to go with for the funeral, if it is that you have a date for the funeral and stuff like that. And I told my mom, I said, and I feel in this funeral home, because normally, as I mentioned in my previous video, any death, any burial, my mother and I would do the major running up and down. So I would have buried within my time, I would have buried my grandfather, grandmother, cousin, and assisted with an aunt. So I know the run-ins. I know the run-ins, and I know, okay, death, this is what we need to get done. You have a death and you're not sure? I'm the person that they would call in the family to get it done. And with that, we decided to go with Divine Solace Funeral Home. Now, bear in mind, the funeral home would have said, we said, all right, we're going to go with ice green and gold. And the lady was, well, we did an ice green and gold casket already. And I can send you the pictures of all the other things that we would have done. That's the funeral home that would have done the removal of the body. Because remember, they are looking for cashing in on a burial. And I told my mom, I said, I'm not feeling this funeral home. She said, but they'll go waive the $3,000. I say, I prefer to pay them the $3,000 and go with another funeral home. I'm not feeling this. So I decided that I would go, because I had a friend who had a family relative that was recently deceased. And I said, what funeral home you went with? And they said, the funeral home in Roxborough. I said, where's anybody funeral home in Roxborough again? And they said, oh, Divine Solace Funeral Home. I said, all right, let me Google it, research it, look to see what is the, explore the options. They had a starting price of 14,500. 14,000 something was their beginning starting price. However, the lady, when I called her, no, I messaged her because I wasn't in the country. So I messaged, I Googled and I messaged and I said, hi, by chance, what are your packages and stuff like that? Because I was on my way flying back in transit to come back to Tobago to deal with the burial. Because as I mentioned, guy wasn't sick and ailing. But the Sahara dust, you see that Sahara dust that passed over the Christmas? And the Sahara dust that looks like rain? People, if you're asthmatic, yeah, asthma-ish, or you have any kind of breathing or lung disease problem, mask up and move out. Mask up and move out. Getting back to the funeral arrangements. So with that now, I called the Divine Solace people. Yes, because I called on WhatsApp. And the lady said, all right, I would send you the packages that we have available and stuff like that. She sent me it. I sent it to my mom. I didn't even realize. My mother said, I want the ice green and gold package that they have. I said, they have an ice green and gold. She said, yeah, look for it. I went, I looked, I saw it. And bear in mind, my father was a old school Bobo Shanti Rasta man. He died with a bald head, whole Rasta beard. Full Boba Shanti Rasta man back in the days, ice green and gold Rasta man colors. My mom said, this is what we're going to go with. Another funeral home still there trying to convince us to go with them. I said, Mommy, this is what you want? She said, yes. I called the lady and I said, here's what. We're going to go with your package. This is what it is that we want. I said, this is his height, because you need to know the height of the person to ensure that they would fit in the casket, 1. 2, that it would be broad enough so that they don't have to break any bones or anything like that for them to fit into the casket. And let me tell you something. If it is that your dimensions not correct, or the person not familiar with the physical appearance of that person, and you order a casket that is too small, the difference between that casket and the next casket price jumps. Previous experience tells you that. Well, my experience would have told me that. So I told the lady, she said, all right, this is what you want. I said, yes. She said, all right, I would order the unit. She said, all right. She said, all right, this is the package. It was inclusive. We got the basic package, and then we went on to have the live stream because we have family relatives abroad, and we have family relatives that were elderly from Trinidad that would have not made it to the funeral in Tobago. And we went with that package. And I can tell you where it is that in previous times we would have gone to different funeral homes. On the day of the funeral, when the body is in the cemetery or in the church, that is when it is that you would actually see what the program looks like. What I can say to you, Divine Solace sent me a preview, multiple previews, because the young lady that was dealing with the programs gave me different options of the ice green and gold. So I would say, okay, this one is nice. My mother might say no, that one is the modern day Rastaman. She want the old school Rastaman Bobo Shanti look. And so they gave us previews of the different options of the ice green and gold, what it would look like, the formatting. Let us double check the spelling of the name, the sunrise, sunset, the formatting that we would have liked. And I was happy, really happy and pleased about that. If it is that I WhatsApp them, I can tell you, if 5 minutes past, it was plenty, they got back to me. When it was time for payment, they found us, we found them, we got the payment. Clear, transition, easy process. For them to remove the body from the morgue, the lady called me. She messaged me 2 days before. She messaged me the day again, and she messaged me early in the morning to say, okay, remember today is the day for us to do the removal of the body. This is what it is that you need to walk with, and remember, you need to have a family relative there to ID the body to ensure that it is the right body that we're moving with. Kudos. I had to pick up Divine Solace. Even if it is that they may be new, they have exceptional service. When it is that we were dealing with the funeral arrangements and stuff like that, I said, here's what, because my dad was originally from Pembroke, and I said we want to do a stop off in Pembroke for the Pembroke people to see a viewing of the body, because we're coming down to Mount Pleasant for the service and Bucco Cemetery for the burial. And they said, all right, no problem. I said, I just need to verify and liaise with Pembroke. Kudos and shout out to St. Mary's Anglican Church, Father Shaquille, for allowing us to get the use of the church compound for them to have the viewing of the body there. And also big up to my home church, St. Patrick's Anglican Church, that allowed us and worked with me to get the service done. And with that, they said, all right, this is how much programs come with it. Do you want additional programs? They did a tribute, and they even had live music as part of the tribute that the funeral home would have offered. I will try to add a description of the funeral service in the link below, of what they would have done. Besides your narrates and stuff like that, they were there. They wore was it yellow shirts? They wore yellow shirts to match in with the theme of the ice green and gold. What I also want to mention is that before I went with Divine Solace, people were asking me, so what funeral home are you going with? What funeral home are you with? And I said, well, I'm going with the funeral home in country. They say you're going with the country funeral home. I said, yes. They doesn't prepare their body in Tobago, you know. They just send the body down to Trinidad and then bring it up back for you and stuff like that. So I started calling, I started asking. I said, hi, by chance do you all prepare the body in Trinidad and then bring it back to Tobago? They said no. They said we do the full preparation of the body in Tobago. They said when it is that we started off, our bodies never went to Trinidad, but there was a funeral home that they worked in collaboration with in preparing the bodies and getting to know the know-how and building up the experience. Bear in mind, I went to Roxborough and I saw the funeral home. They weren't open on that day, but when I saw the space, I said, these people have to be preparing the body in Tobago, because you don't really need much space to prepare a body if you don't know. So in my mind, I was rest assured and I knew that they were preparing the bodies in Tobago. But I want to let people know Divine Solace Funeral Home prepares and preps your body in Tobago. Should you be interested in going for a viewing of the body before the body goes to the church, you are allowed that. So you could go cry your heart out, holla, pull your composure back, and then go to the church looking prepared and looking like if you didn't shed a tear, meaning to say you cry your whole eyeballs out a few hours before. And they were, my mother and all was appalled with the service and the service that we received, because she was all over the place and I was the pull together, get it done person to get the funeral out and rolling. And what I want to say, people, do your research. I mean, we did not go, the package that we got wasn't the $14,000 package. Our package was, ooh, I cannot remember the full figure, because at the point in time they were having a promotion also. So I guess maybe depending on when it is that your loved one die, you maybe, and they would work with you. They would work with you and they would reach out to you if they have any questions or any concerns, any clarity. They would reach out to you and speak to you. And that's what I want to say. Explore your options of funeral homes if it is that there's a funeral home, because normally we went religiously with another funeral home, but I have to say, based on where you at, your loyalty may change, because funeral homes need to up their game. Even if it is that the person is deceased, the loved ones are still looking for great and quality service. We are still looking at, how are you meeting me? How are you meeting my needs? Because this is all hard-earned money that we are putting into your service. So I just want to say shout out to Divine Solace Funeral Home and their workers and everyone who would have assisted us in every possible way within the time that we would have dealt with our grief, and the support that they would have shown to us within that time. So to the persons that would have contributed their time, who would have contributed their service, who would have given us facilities for free, I just want to say a big shout out and thank you to all those persons. And people, again, I want to say, explore your options when it is that you're dealing with the death and the department of a loved one, the funeral arrangements, funeral announcements, and everything like that. Also, don't just depend on the announcement of the radio. Post it on social media also. Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp status. Get the message out there, because sometimes when it is that you would have finished burying the person's calling you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months down the road and saying, I now heard that your loved one passed. So get it out there, share it on your status, get people to share it on their status also, because you all may have different circles. So that's my snippet for today. Thanks again for tuning in. Bye.